Hey everybody, Big Z. No notes on this video. I'm just shooting this thing straight out. I apologize if the quality's not good. I'm having to shoot this in 720p because I have a time limit over on BitChute that only allows me to put up a 10-minute video in 1080 and about an 18-minute video in 720. So you get fuzzy vision, and I'm sorry. Just shit we have to go through to get our content up. Excuse me. I had a lot of different titles for this video, and there'll be some redundancy in the next couple ones that come out. I've got one titled Christianity and Salvationism, the world's biggest franchise. We've got one I've titled Jesus is a Vampire. That one should get some really good attention, but I'm gonna go ahead and I think entitle this one Jesus is the Antichrist, and time for you to meet the real Christ. And I want controversy. I want to get people stirred up. I am so fucking tired of going on these YouTube and these channels and endless fucking stories. Who's the real Jesus? Who's the real Paul? Who is this? Who is that? The best way I'm going to explain this right out of the gate is this. It's a fucking screenplay. This is no different than fucking Yellowstone, where you've got, looking at something here, where it's just a story that was made up. And after season 1, it was like, oh, this is great. Everyone's buying into this. And by season 2, it's like the biggest freaking show on cable TV. And now everybody's fighting for the rights over it and so forth. And people are so fucking into this thing that they're consumed by it. They can't. My first season, I was into it. Second season, it was when I turned off the TV and said no more, just when the crisis happened in my life. But my family members keep watching it, and they watch it over and over and over again. And I get it, it was pretty intense. And then they came out with this thing called 1886, the prequel to it, because they had to write a backstory to it. And real briefly, that's your Old and New Testament. Your New Testament was actually, get this, your New Testament was written before the Old Testament. They had to go back and backdate the fucking thing to get a prehistory into it. And that's why the Hebrew language was created, because they didn't have an old language, these people. So they took the Greek and then they back made a language. I'm gonna show you how fucking inverted this shit is. It's going to blow your mind when you see how inverted it is. But you know, you got these characters in the New Testament. You got the Jesus dude, you got John the Baptist, and you got the Apostle Paul, and you got some disciples, and you got Mary, the love interest. Is she, was she, you don't know. It's so different than fucking, who all we have? You've got Kevin Costner playing John Dalton, and Beth, and Rip. Everybody loves the Rip character, and Casey, and Travis, and Monica, and all that kind of crap. And it's no different than the Robin Hood story. The historians now will say the only person we kind of can say actually existed was this guy Little John, and I guess he created the whole story. There was no Robin Hood. There sure as hell was no Maid Marian, but it was such a beautiful story that people today believe it's true. Remember when they had Gilligan's Island that was out? It was what year was it came out? We were very young, but people literally believed, because it was on television, that the skipper and the Marianne and Ginger and all them, the professor, were on an island somewhere, and people would call the Navy and the Coast Guard routinely, regularly, saying, you got to go help these people. There's people that their ship is on an island, and the Coast Guard, well, what ship? Does the ship have a name? Yes, it's the SS Minnow. And these people literally believed because it was on TV. Hey, when I was a little kid, I used to think the 6 Million Man was a real dude. There was a bionic dude. No, I'm telling you, there is. And it was the only one of all that goofy shit. For some reason, I bought into that dumb thing, Steve Austin. It's a screenplay. Screenplay that's somewhat based on a real story. Okay, so, why is Jesus the Antichrist? I'm going to explain this. So if he's the Antichrist, who's the real Christ? Do you want to know? I mean, that seems to be the big missing component here. If Jesus is the Antichrist, so the Christ, get this, okay? The Christ, his name, it's not Jesus. The real Christ, his name is He's us. Some of you got it. The real Christ isn't Jesus. The real Christ is He's us. We are Christ. Christ can never be one person. You understand this? Christ cannot be one person. If Christ was one person and we all went to him, it fucking blows the whole purpose of our existence. It just ruins everything. That's not, you're not supposed to sit and wait for one dude, some Rambo guy to come and save the world. It's you. Put it this way, Ford F-150, right? This came to me today. Ford F-150 is the most popular all-time selling truck of all time, whatever. How many fucking million F-150s are out there? You can't count them. And they're models year after year after year, right? How many different models of the F-150 are they? The two-wheel drive, the four-wheel drive, the two-door, the four-door, the extended cab. You got the towing package, you got the flatbed, the long bed, you got the 30 different engine sizes and shit and tires and lift kits. And it's still all the Ford F-150. And they're all spread all over the world and they're all doing their job. That's us. It has an owner's manual, by the way, too. Same owner's manual. Those trucks are working, they're doing their job. Not one F-150 can do all the work for everybody in this world. It takes all of them together. This goes back to the Neo and the Matrix. Neo is an anagram for one. It's one with the one connected. It's also an anagram for, it also means neocortex, but Neo and the one, which also is an eon or an aeon, is what we are. Christ is not one person. Christ is all of us. And it's not Christ, it's Christophor. And Christophor in the Latin is Christ and Lucifer. So it's Christophosphorus. We get this straight here. So Christ and Lucifer, or the male and the female aspect of you. They're both the morning star. They're both the light bringer. It's you. Do you see this fucking amazing opportunity that's been given to every one of us? It's up to us. You know, the book of Thomas, if you go back and read all these teachings that they attribute to Jesus didn't come from him. Okay, it's all plagiarism. It came from those before us. They were in us. It was us sharing our knowledge and our wisdom with each other. They took it all, copyrighted it, stuck it on shithead over here, and told you he's the one to deliver this message to you. It's already been in you. It's written inside of your DNA code. Every single one of us. So Christ, when Christ came into this world, Christo and Christ and Lucifer, it's us. It's you. Go look in the goddamn mirror. You are the Christ. And it's up to you to change this world. Oh, well, Big Z, it just means Christ's spirit is in us. No, asshole. It's you. The story of Adam and Eve. There really isn't an Adam and Eve. That's the story of you. It's the creation of you. It's that one owner's manual for all 50 million Ford F-150s had that one manual. It's still the F-150. That's what you are. Christ isn't a single person. No single person is going to come like Rambo and save the whole fucking world. You do it. And when we all learn that and we all come together, it's like, when is the heavens going to come? When are all these angels and hosts of angels going to come and save the world? They're not going to, because they're all here and they're all us. And when we would find out who we are, reconnect back to source, and we all come back together as one, there you go. That's the big fucking mystery solved. There is Christ. Christ does exist because he's you. And now you need to get your shit straight, and you need to reconnect, and you need to understand something too, that our Creator, it's not an old man with a beard. It's our mother. She is the source of all. She's the mother of all living. Her name is Barbello. Her daughter is Sophia. You know the story now. You know the true creation story. It's her spirit, and that she drops that essence into you, and you got the power. That's the light, that's the power, that's the message that's in you. But you don't get that unless you show yourself approved, because she's not giving you the power like she's done before that y'all the Bayoff, and look at the fucking mess we got ourselves into. So she's going to test you, and you're going to go through a world of shit. Now, I want you to imagine this. We're in the higher realm, and we're sitting in a classroom, and we're like the elite of this fighting force up there. Men and women, both of us. We're in there, and we're like kind of like going through buds training for Naval SEALs, and you got to go through the Hell Week thing. But anyway, so we're up there in this classroom, and so we got an assignment. We're going to send you into this realm as an extraction team. You're going to go in and get all these souls out that are trapped in there. To do this, you're going to have to go in undercover because they'll detect you coming in. So we're going to slide you in there. We're going to get you in. A part of this thing is your memory will be blocked from you. You won't know who you're from, who you are. If you do, you'll spoil the whole thing. We got time stamp set for you. At certain points, you're going to be activated. And then that job for you then to do is to reactivate, reconnect. You're going to learn how everything works down there, how the deception works, how these people got themselves trapped into it, so then you can lead them back out again. And then when you connect with each other down there and you learn from each other, you power back up and we get this thing and we take it back. Because you are Christ. It's not that fruitcake faggot that they gave us. So why, let's just go into this. So why did they choose, why did the Council of Nicaea and that fanny packing Constantine, excuse me, why did they choose him? You know, there was a big fucking war, went on for 2 years. Will it be, let's make Zeus, we'll make Zeus the fucking savior. Well, they couldn't use Zeus because he's got more kids. I would say this, on Father's Day, they rent out the Coliseum for all his, man was the man whore of man whores. And get this, even though Zeus had more women than fucking, I don't know who, he still liked little boys. Very, very specific. One of them tall, with a certain color hair, no pimples, muscular. This all goes into why they chose this dude, Yeshua. One, there wasn't much history on him. And by the way, they say, oh, well, the only account of Yeshua or Jesus is just in the Bible. That's not true either. There's other accounts of him. That is what they don't want you to know, because they had true accounts of who this guy was. So they chose to do this. Okay, if we can use this guy, Yeshua, who was a late days, okay? He was his mother, Mary. I got to break it all down in other videos. 12 minutes. Okay, got to get this thing fast. His mother, Mary, was sold into it. She was then sold to one of these elites for sex, and she gave birth to 2 kids, by the way, not just Jesus. It was Jesus and Thomas. So Jesus goes down to the mystery schools in Egypt, and where he learns, he gets initiated, he goes through all this shit, and he becomes, in the late stage, a child trafficker. And these are these prophets of God running all around, down, you know, it was very, very common. It's like your modern day David Koresh or John of God down in Brazil. It's the same thing. So they choose this guy, and so they can continue doing what they do, trafficking children, especially little boys. So they can continue doing their thing. But we'll take this guy and we'll whitewash him, and we'll put him out front with blonde hair and blue eyes and make him out to be, this is what Freemasonry is. That's why I said in the video on YouTube, Jesus was the first Freemason. Because just as he's good, he's got to be bad. So they take this guy who's a complete piece of shit, transgender, child trafficking, fruitcake, cross-dressing, drug-addicted, homo, pedophile, wacko, and we're going to make him the savior of the world. So we can continue doing that, and then, like they said, we'll whitewash him out front, and that way he's running cover for our operation, which never ended. And still today, probably child trafficking is at its all-time high. That's who your Jesus is. Christ is you. And it's our job and our responsibility to reconnect, to get the truth out, and to shut this fucking Yellowstone screenplay, fairy tale bullshit story down, and the power structure behind it. And this child trafficking shit's gonna stop. I just listened to an old Jordan Maxwell this morning. He was talking about, I didn't know this, Jordan was a Jehovah's Witness at one time. And he says, I know it because I got pulled into it. He got out of it. And he talked about that in the Mormon church and how this whole fucking power structure has been developed. And when I do the video on Christianity and salvationism being the biggest franchise in the world, very lucrative franchise that anyone can buy into, you'll see why this thing has become so powerful and why they have to keep that secret shut. But going back to this thing, we're going to end it here in 15 minutes. Jesus Christ cannot be one person because he's all of us. And he cannot be Jesus. Get it? It's a fraud. You're Christ. And you got to reconnect. No one's saving you but yourself. You've got to work yourself. You got to work yourself, as it says, you got to work out your transgressions. And you're in this realm, and it's time for you to reconnect and go back to source and reconnect to that person that they've hidden from us, our divine feminine mother, who is the earth, who became the earth to give us life here. And they created they used her material and her creation to make a carbon copy realm and stick our asses in it, and stick these people, and they got trapped. And now we're battling these things called archons, and those archons are the ones that are running everything here. You know, the honker noses, we call them. Don't call them by that name. They want you to use that name so they can scream discrimination and shit. They're not the letter J, okay? They're archons. And they interbred, and they got their middle management masons running around, structuring the world and building everything. And they got us doing all the work so they can fucking enslave us and keep us here. You are Christ. You have the power in you. I have a lot of things I want to go over. Discover who you are. That book, this thing they call the Bible, we're going to rip that fucking thing apart. But what they did is they took truth. I'll finish with this. We're at 16 minutes. Women, you might get this. Let's say you want to make a cookbook and you don't have any recipes, but you go out and you gather all these recipes from India and all over the world, and Aunt Jemima's pancakes, and you go get Aunt Bunny's fucking mac and cheese recipe and Uncle Bob's barbecue, and you make a recipe book, and you put it all together, and you put your fucking name on it. And later you're somewhere and you read this book and go, hey, wait a minute, that's my recipe. And they're like, no, it's my recipe. No, that's my recipe. It's been in my family for 17 generations. Well, no, it's not. It's mine. I say it's mine. I copyrighted it and I own it now. That's what they've done with everything. They took it, stole it from us, copyrighted it, backdated, said it was them, stole it from us. The Gnostics, the Telestes, the ones that were here before us, our family, where we come from, and have you grovel and surrender back to them to get back the thing that was always yours. That knowledge, that wisdom, that was always yours, and they stole it from us. Christ is you. I'm out.